Hello everyone. In today's dramatic story, we witness James's challenging journey as he bravely faced every danger to find Ly Tieu Nu, the woman he loves. Ly Tieu Nu was held captive in an abandoned house deep in the forest, but she managed to leave a clue on the ring James gave her, a precious lead that helped him track her down. However, things were far from easy. Truong, who had secretly loved James for 10 years, hatched a cunning plan to separate them. Would James arrive in time to foil this plot? And when her scheme collapses, how furious will Truong become? What will she do to win James's heart, even if it means harming Ly Tieu Nu? We invite you to watch the intense developments that follow to discover if love will conquer all conspiracies, and if justice will prevail. In the tender embrace of a late afternoon, where the crystal stream murmured ancient lullabies to the swaying grasses, an elderly woman, her face a map of weathered wisdom and gentle resilience, stumbled upon a scene that seized her soul. There along the muddy bank lay a young man, his form crumpled like a wilted flower, his breath a faint whisper against the encroaching dusk. Her heart, forged by decades of compassion, leapt with a mother's instinct. Goodness gracious! Who lies there, struck by hunger, lost to the wild, or felled by some cruel fate? She gasped, her voice a trembling melody of concern. With the vigor of a guardian angel, she hastened to his side, her aged hands quivering as they sought his pulse. "Young one, speak to me. What torment has brought you here?" she pleaded, her fingers pressing against his wrist, a surge of relief washing over her as she detected the steady rhythm of life beneath his skin. His pulse dances still. Bless the heavens, he lives. Determined to defy the odds, she summoned a burly neighbor with a cry, and together they hoisted him from the mire, her home transforming into a haven of hope and healing. Within her humble abode, the air soon blossomed with the earthy aroma of simmering broth, the sharp tang of freshly chopped herbs, and the comforting warmth of a crackling hearth. She tended to him with the devotion of a long-lost kin, brewing warm water to soothe his parched throat, preparing a modest meal to revive his strength, and draping a threadbare blanket over his shivering frame. Her eyes, bright with care, never strayed from his pallid face as she whispered prayers for his recovery. Hours unfurled like a slow dawn until at last, his eyelids fluttered open, a fog of confusion clouding his gaze. Where am I? Whose sanctuary is this, ma'am?" he croaked, his voice a fragile thread unraveling in the quiet. The old woman, her smile a radiant beacon of warmth, patted his hand with the tenderness of a grandmother. "This is my modest haven, child. My son and his wife toil afar, leaving me to guard the house and cook their meals. I found you by the stream while gathering greens, sprawled like a broken doll forsaken by fortune. I feared the worst, but your pulse was a song of life, so I brought you here. Drink this water. Let it cradle your spirit back to health." James, for that was his name, sipped the cool liquid gratefully, his memory a shattered mosaic of exhaustion and distress. "I must have collapsed, personal shadows overwhelmed me," he admitted, his tone heavy with a gratitude that swelled his chest. "Thank you, ma'am, for your boundless kindness, a light in my darkness." She nodded sagely, her eyes twinkling with the wisdom of ages. Life's burdens are best unraveled slowly, my boy. Don't let them crush your tender soul. Rest now, and I'll cook more if hunger stirs. Tell me what weighs on you so. He managed a weak smile, the edges tinged with resolve. I feel steadier thanks to your grace. Urgent matters call me, but I'll return to repay your benevolence with all my heart. Her laughter rang like a soft chime, a melody of reassurance. Go with care, child. Leave your worries for another dawn. Overthinking only saps your strength. Come back when the winds are kind. As he rose, steadying his wobbly legs, she offered a final blessing, her voice a gentle hymn. Walk gently and return safe. Such a polite soul, you're a credit to your lineage, a jewel in this weary world. With a heartfelt farewell, James stepped into the fading light, his mind already racing toward a darker horizon, unaware that his Savior's kindness had rekindled an ember of resolve to face the tempest ahead. Yet, as he departed, a new shadow crept into the tale. The old woman's keen eyes, honed by years of watching life's ebb and flow, caught a glint of movement across the stream, a figure cloaked in shadow, its gaze fixed with predatory intent. Her heart skipped, a shiver of intuition whispering of danger tethered to this young man's plight. She bit her lip, choosing silence, her mind conjuring images of lurking threats. Meanwhile, James, oblivious to the watcher, hurried toward a pressing duty, the disappearance of Deep, his beloved, and the sinister web spun by John, a drug lord whose cruelty knew no bounds. In a dimly lit strategy room, thick with the scent of coffee and tension, he joined a top police briefing, his voice a blade cutting through the murmur. We've nabbed 2 of John's lackeys. They've named him as the mastermind. But we need ironclad proof. I propose we release them, use them as bait to catch John red-handed during a deal. It's a gamble, but it'll snare him with evidence he can't escape. The room buzzed with a mix of awe and apprehension, the plan's audacity cementing James's role as a linchpin in this perilous hunt. His heart pounding with the dual burden of love and justice, a storm brewing on the horizon. Back at his modest home, a sanctuary now tainted by the specter of loss, the weight of his mission crashed over James like a relentless tidal wave, each wave eroding his fragile calm and threatening to drown him in despair. The news of Deep's vanishing had shattered his world into jagged fragments, a mirror of his soul reflecting a love ripped from his grasp, and now he faced his most harrowing trial, a crucible of pain and purpose. With a trembling hand that betrayed his inner turmoil, he dialed her parents, his voice thick with remorse that clawed at his throat like a beast unleashed. Uncle, Aunt, I can't find Deep. Her absence is a wound that bleeds. I've called her endlessly, but her phone's a silent grave, a tomb of unanswered prayers. I'll head home to gather my strength, then rally the police to search the forest where she vanished, a labyrinth of fear. Her father's voice cracked with a despair that mirrored the abyss within James, a father's love laid bare. Please, James, bring our girl back. Don't let this nightmare claim her. Don't let her light fade into oblivion. Tears welled, burning his eyes like molten lead as he replied, his voice a vow carved in stone. I'm the one who failed you, a guardian who faltered. I'll find her, I swear on my life, on the love that binds us. The call ended, leaving him hollow, his promise a fragile lifeline to their shattered hope. A vow etched in the marrow of his bones, a beacon in the gathering dark. Stepping into his home, a haven now shadowed by grief, he found his mother pacing like a caged bird. Her face a canvas of worry painted with deep lines that told a story of sleepless nights and unspoken fears. James, where have you been, my son? You're soaked to the bone, pale as moonlight robbed of its glow. What's torn you apart? What demon haunts you? She demanded, her voice rising with a maternal panic that sliced the air like a sharpened blade. A mother's love a shield against the unknown. He sank into a worn chair, its creak a lament for better days. His words a reluctant confession that hung heavy between them like a storm cloud ready to burst. Mom, it's deep, she's missing, swallowed by the unknown. A void where her laughter once danced. The revelation struck like a thunderbolt from a clear sky. Her mother's eyes widened in horror, a tempest of emotion swirling within, then rolled back as she collapsed, a cry of anguish escaping her lips like a wounded bird torn from its nest. Deep gone? No, it can't be, not my girl. James lunged forward, cradling her trembling form with the desperation of a son clinging to life, his voice a plea torn from his depths. Mom, stay with me. Don't leave me to this darkness alone. Panic seized him, a vice around his heart that threatened to crush his spirit, as he dialed Truong, a steadfast friend and anchor in this chaos. Truong, get here quick, Mom's fainted, a casualty of this nightmare. I can't stay, I must find Deep, my heart's compass. Handle things here, I beg you. As Truong's footsteps echoed her swift arrival, a rhythm of hope in the gloom, James briefed her with urgency, etching his words like a sculptor's chisel. Watch Mom, the doctor's on his way, a healer for her pain. I'm off to the forest, where hope hangs by a thread finer than spider silk. With the police's aid, led by the resolute Officer Tan, a beacon of order in the wild, James plunged into the dense woodland where Deep had vanished, the terrain a treacherous labyrinth of steep slopes that tested their resolve, thorny thickets that tore at their hope, and whispering shadows that mocked their efforts. They split into teams, their calls piercing the gloom with a desperate fervor. Deep, where are you, my love, my light? But only the wind answered, a cruel taunt that echoed with the ghosts of their fears. Memories flooded him like a torrential rain, a deluge of joy and pain. Deep's laughter dancing in the air like a melody of spring, her soft vow from a book he'd gifted her. If our love is true, we can't live without each other. Now a dagger twisting in his soul with every beat of his heart. Without you, my life's a void, a darkness I can't endure, a world without color or song. He whispered to the trees, his resolve hardening into steel forged in the fires of love and loss. Officer Tan's voice broke through the haze, a lifeline in the storm. No traces yet. The forest is vast, a beast that devours hope. I'll fetch more men and search dogs, keen noses to pierce this veil. Hold fast, James. James nodded, his hope teetering on a razor's edge, a blade that could cut either way. Yet his love for Deep a relentless fire driving him deeper into the abyss, a flame that refused to be quenched. Back home, a fragile sanctuary now steeped in sorrow, his mother stirred from her faint, her voice frail but fierce with a mother's love that burned brighter than the sun. James, where are you, my son, my strength? Find Deep, bring her to me, she's my heart, my daughter and spirit. He soothed her through the phone, his voice a balm over her pain, a whisper of comfort in the storm. Mom, I'm in the forest with the police, warriors against this darkness. We've scoured nearly every inch, our boots wearing paths of desperation, But no sign yet, no whisper of her presence. Stay home, your health can't bear the strain of this wild crucible, this sun-scorched hell. Her protest was a mother's plea, raw and unyielding, a cry that pierced his soul. I must help. She's my daughter in spirit. Send me the location. The forest tightened its grip on James and his team, exhaustion gnawing at their bones like a relentless predator stalking its prey, its jaws clamping down as hours bled into a hopeless eternity that stretched the limits of their endurance. The rugged landscape offered no quarter, its steep inclines a cruel test of their will, its dense thickets a mocking maze that swallowed their efforts whole, its shadows a chorus of whispers that taunted their every step. Deep, answer me, my heart, my eternal flame, James cried, his voice raw with anguish that tore at the silence like a wounded animal's howl. But the void returned only echoes, a cruel shroud over his soul that threatened to smother his spirit. Officer Tan rallied the weary team, his voice a steady anchor in the tempest, a lighthouse in the fog. We've covered this side. Nothing but shadows that mock our quest. The forest is a beast that devours hope. I'll fetch more men and search dogs, their noses a beacon to pierce this veil. Keep searching, don't yield, hold the line. James pressed on, his mind a whirlwind of despair and fragmented memories, a storm of emotions that raged within. Where could she be, my love? The stream's our only clue, a silver thread in this tapestry of dread. But no soul has seen her, no voice has called her name. Could John's men have her, their hands stained with her fear? Or has she slipped beyond the reach of mortal eyes? His heart clenched at the thought, a vice of dread that squeezed the breath from his lungs, yet a flicker of resolve burned bright within, an ember that refused to be snuffed out. I'll find you, deep, no matter the abyss, no matter the cost. Without you I'm a hollow shell, a life without light, a heart that beats but does not live. Suddenly his phone buzzed, a lifeline piercing the wilderness's oppressive silence, a sound that shattered the stillness like a thunderclap. James, it's Tan. Police in Van Chien spotted a girl matching Deep's description near the old mill, a relic of forgotten times. Hope surged like a wildfire, banishing the despair that had clouded his spirit, a blaze that reignited his faltering courage. Feng Shuan, the old mill? Let's move now with the speed of the wind, he barked, rallying his team with a fervor that shook the trees, their footsteps pounding toward salvation with the urgency of a heartbeat racing against time. The revelation transformed their exhaustion into a fevered rush, their breath sinking with the rhythm of hope reborn, a symphony of determination that echoed through the forest. As they raced through the undergrowth, branches clawing at their clothes like desperate hands, James's mind replayed Deep's tender words, a memory that danced like a ghost in the mist. If I vanished, could you live without me, my love? His answer roared within him. Never. A vow that propelled him forward, his love a beacon cutting through the encroaching darkness, a flame that refused to be extinguished, a light that guided him through the night toward a destiny yet unwritten. Back in the forest's heart, a crucible of shadows and secrets, the team split once more, their calls piercing the silence with desperate fervor, a chorus of hope against the odds. Deep, deep, where are you, my love, my eternal star? But the vastness swallowed their hope like a ravenous beast, its maw void of uncertainty. Then a distant bark signaled the dog's arrival, their noses keen for her scent, a promise of aid in this endless night, a whisper of salvation in the gloom. James clung to the possibility, his eyes scanning every shadow, every rustle a potential sign of her presence, his heart a drumbeat of anticipation. She's out there. I feel her pulse in my veins, her breath in the wind. John's trap won't hold her from me, his empire won't steal her light, he vowed, his voice a defiant chant against the odds, a warrior's cry that reverberated through the trees. As they prepared to shift to Van Chien, a rustle in the trees froze them. A figure emerged, cloaked in tattered garb that fluttered like a flag of surrender, its face obscured by the dimness. Was it deep, staggering to safety with the last of her strength, a vision of hope incarnate, or another of John's minions, a harbinger of doom sent to crush their spirits? The tension crackled like a storm about to break, a prelude to a dramatic reunion that could mend a broken heart or a heart-wrenching ambush that might shatter their resolve. James's hand tightened on his flashlight, its beam a sword against the dark, his heart pounding with a mix of terror and anticipation, a symphony of emotions that left him teetering on the edge of triumph and tragedy. The forest held its breath, the air thick with the promise of revelation. The figure's next move a pivot point in this saga of love and peril, a dance with destiny that would define their fate.
Helped me heal after 2 years of caregiving and trying to keep my business go at the same time. I felt like a burned out survival of war. I was just making time until I could join Jack. After all, at 54, what did I have to looking forward to? The future was black. The waiter approached my table asking if I needed anything. To my surprise, I said, yes, if you know anyone here who is a recent widow or widower, I would appreciate talking to her or him. Again, to my surprise, she told me about Phyllis, a spas health director who had lost her husband several months before. I